So, you are thinking about buying land. Right now, somewhere, someone is getting ready to buy a beautiful piece of land. And they have no idea the ground underneath could add tens of thousands of dollars to the cost. If you're thinking about buying land, raw land, a lot, a large piece of property, this is the one video you have to watch before you do that. Hi, if this is your first time here, I'm Carlos. I spent 7 years as a geotechnical engineer, which means I spent a lot of time figuring out whether the ground under a building can actually hold it up. This channel is where I explain that stuff in plain English, starting with the basics. Here's the challenge with buying land. From the surface, two properties can look almost identical. Same grass, same trees, same view. But what determines whether you can build there and what it's going to cost you is entirely hidden underneath. You can't see it by walking the property. You can't see it in the listing photos. The only way to know what's actually underneath is to do a subsurface exploration. Buying land involves more than just the soil. There's zoning, there's legal. Do we have road access? Do we have utilities? Is there utility access? There is some good information about all those factors out there. This video focuses on the part that's most often overlooked. What's underneath the soil, and can the ground support it? First, bearing pressure and bearing capacity. Every structure pushes down on the ground. The bigger question is, can the ground push back? The soil underneath has a limit to how much force it can actually hold. If the ground's real capacity is lower than what your house is going to push down, then you've got a problem. This isn't hypothetical. Get this wrong, and the building can settle, crack, or tilt within days of being loaded. Sometimes dramatically enough to make the news. Second, settlement. Is the ground going to sink evenly or unevenly? A little settlement spread evenly is normal and not something to worry about. Uneven settlement is what actually cracks foundations and walls, sometimes years after you've already moved in. Uneven settlement usually happens because the ground isn't the same everywhere. One part of the house may be sitting on a stronger soil while another sits on a softer or looser soil. Third, soil type. Not all soils behave the same, and the differences can have a major impact on how to build. Rock is generally one of the best materials to build on. It's strong, stiff, and settles very little. Sand drains well and settles fast. Clay is the one that catches people off guard. Clay can be strong when dry, but certain clays swell and shrink with moisture, slowly cracking foundations over years. That's not a minor concern. Expansive clay is estimated to be the costliest geologic hazard in the country. None of these automatically takes a piece of land off the table. Almost anything can be built on with the right foundation design. Knowing what you're actually building on changes what the foundation needs to look like and what it costs. We will be taking a deep dive on these soils on upcoming videos. So, how do you find out what's beneath the surface? You hire a geotechnical engineer to perform a subsurface evaluation. A drill rig comes out and takes soil samples at several points across the property. Those samples go to a lab and get tested for strength, compressibility, and composition. A few weeks later, you get a report that tells you in plain terms what's beneath the surface, whether it's suitable for typical construction, and what kind of foundation will be needed. For a typical residential lot, you're looking at a few $1,000s for the soil report. Compare that to tens of thousands of dollars a bad foundation decision can cost you. It's genuinely one of the best value inspections you can get before buying land. Field tools like hand probes and dynamic cone penetrometers, DCP, measures how much the ground resists right on site before samples even reach the lab. It's a straightforward process applied specifically to the questions you actually care about. Can you build here, and how much will it cost? There's one thing that confuses buyer, so let's clear it up. If you have researched about buying land, you probably have heard about a perc test. A percolation test, or a perc test, measures how quickly water moves through the soil. A perc test does not tell you if it can hold up your house. A lot can pass a perc test with no issues and still have serious settlement problems or bearing capacity problems. So, if someone tells you the lot passed its soil test, you should ask one question. Which soil test? Because passing a perc test and never evaluating the soil's ability to support a foundation can become a very, very expensive mistake. Timing matters. Ideally, you want this done during your due diligence or inspection period, after you've got the property under contract, but before you locked into closing. Most purchase agreements can include a contingency that lets you back out or renegotiate if a geotechnical issue turns up during that window. Waiting until after closing means one thing: you lost your leverage, and now the ground is your problem. Before you get to that point, there are red flags worth watching for. Is the land price too low? Is the land near a floodplain, wetland, or a site that used to be agricultural or industrial? A seller who mentions that the property was filled in at some point, that's often a sign of soft, unpredictable soil that was never properly compacted. If you're buying in a neighborhood, ask around. If multiple nearby homes have had foundation repairs, that's telling you something real about what's under that whole area, not just one unlucky house. Here are a few more red flags: a noticeably steep or uneven lot, standing water after rain, and any mention of a former well, septic system, or underground tank. Those can leave behind disturbed soil long after the structure itself is gone. If a report comes back with problems, you're not necessarily out of options. Sometimes it means negotiating the price down to cover a more expensive foundation. Sometimes it means asking the seller to handle remediation before closing. And sometimes, honestly, it just means walking away. This is just the beginning. We're kicking off a series called Should I Buy This Land? Starting with what's actually under a lot and building to a complete buyer's checklist. Catch you in the next one.